Greetings and welcome to all of you, those of you in the room, those on Facebook, those on the webcast, and those on the teleconference. So it's wonderful to have all of you here for this introductory evening to find out the secret to a joyful heart. So it's a very, very special evening, and tomorrow will be a very special day also. For those of you who are new, Master Shunya is the lead teacher here in San Francisco. And in his corporate career, one of the things that Master Shunya did was to be a diversity trainer for the telephone company, right after the legislation was enacted that required a respect for the diverse parts of the population. He also did diversity training and was a consultant for this for some of the Fortune 500 companies. And as a student of Master Sha, he has done many things, before becoming the lead teacher here in San Francisco, and one of those was to be the events manager for Master Sha. So that includes everything, all aspects of the events. Here at the center, as I said, Master Shunya is the lead teacher, which means that he is ultimately the one who is responsible for coordinating the events, the activities, the workshops, and everything that happens at the center and through the center, so that each person's soul journey can flourish. Each person's physical journey, emotional, mental, and every other aspect of life can flourish. He is, well, now I think there are nine centers worldwide, because one just opened in London. But that's it. That's all there are worldwide at this time. So that means there are only 9 lead teachers, and Master Shunya is one of the 9. So he has a very special role, and we are blessed to have Master Shunya bring all of his own goodness, his frequency, his vibration. He's received amazing appointments through Master Sha. And he also brings all of his experience and expertise before he was a student of Master Sha. So we are very, very blessed here in San Francisco to have this kind of leadership and guidance. My professional career was as an educator, and that is basically what I did my entire adult life, was connected in one way or another with education. And as a student of Master Sha, that has served me very nicely, because I have led workshops and retreats and things like that globally, as well as here in San Francisco. And Master Sha has also blessed me with many very special appointments, downloads, and blessings. And the whole reason that Master Sha has done that for Master Shunya, for myself, for Master Robert, for Master Adrian, for all of us, is to make it possible for us to serve better. So that is our goal, that is our hope, and that is the reason why we have all of these amazing treasures. Long, long ago, when Master Sha first started doing this, people would say to me, "I'm so happy you got blah, blah, blah," whatever it was. "You really deserve it." And I would look at them and I would say, "I hope I don't get what I deserve." I am happy to receive gifts.
Yes.
I'm so grateful. This is a pure gift. And that is what all of these treasures are that we receive. So this evening we're going to begin with the introduction to, it's not a full weekend. It's today, this evening and tomorrow. And to begin this, to have a joyful heart, we really need to connect with what will give us that joyful heart. And the quality, one of the qualities, is Da'ai. So we're going to chant Da'ai for maybe 10 minutes or so. And then I'll ask for your responses. And I love what Master Shunya said, I think it was last weekend during the workshop. And he said, I'm going to ask you your experience. And do not tell me you had no experience, because the only people who have no experiences are dead people. And so clearly everyone here is very, very much alive. So are those of you on the webcast and Facebook and the teleconference. So everybody will have an experience. The part of it that sometimes people don't recognize the experience, you know. And people have said to me when I've asked them to share, I didn't really have any experience. I just felt very peaceful. That, Sophia just laughed. That is exactly, except I don't get to laugh when people say that. But it's true. I mean, there are folks that spend literally thousands of dollars, weeks, months, years, going for professional help so they would feel peaceful. At the end of 3 minutes to just feel peaceful is truly amazing. So notice what your experience is. Okay?
Do you want to tell everybody what Da'ai is?
Oh, do you know, that would probably be a very nice idea. Well, we have Master Shah's calligraphy right here, so. Oh, well, you can't see this one so well. Okay.
Would you like me to write it?
On the board, that would be nice, because we can look and chant at the same time, right?
Well, actually, it would be best to be looking at this one rather than mine, because this is, but I will do that. So Da'ai is greatest love. Da is greatest.
Or it's also in Soul Healing Miracles.
Oops, well, if this was done with pen and ink, you don't get to erase it, but I'm going to fix this a little bit. So, Da'ai, greatest love. And for those of you who can see this, you can trace this.
For the webcasters, are we able to close up on that on the live stream? Yeah.
Yeah.
On this one. Yeah.
Maybe the one in Soul Healing Miracles would be better. Oh.
Yeah, see, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. So everyone please sit straight.
And Da'ai literally means greatest love. Did you say that already?
I did, but it can always be repeated. It's a beautiful mantra. So, if you do not know the melody, you will quickly be able to join in because it's very simple. Okay? And we're going to invite Da-I to assist us in all the ways that we need to benefit most fully from the evening and from the day tomorrow. Da-I, 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 Da-I. Two more times like that. Da-I, Da-I, faster. Da-I, 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 Da-I. Silently for about a minute. Da-I, 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 greatest love, greatest love, greatest greatest love, greatest love, greatest love, greatest love, greatest, greatest love, greatest love, greatest love, greatest love, greatest love, greatest, greatest love, greatest love, greatest love. Love removes blockages, 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 love removes blockages. Greatest love, greatest love, greatest, greatest love, greatest love, greatest love. How? Thank you, thank you, thank you. How means perfect or wonderful. So there's a microphone here and one over here. So you can share your experience. And we'll start with people on the teleconference.
This conference is unmuted. Callers may mute themselves by pressing *1.
Hello? The teleconference has been unmuted, so you can share.
There is currently one other participant in the conference.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Anne.
Unmuted. Callers may press. This conference is muted.
So we'll go to those of you in the room. No, there's a microphone over here also. Okay. So your experience as we were singing Da'ai and Greatest Love.
For me, and this is frequent, it just calms the mind and gets rid of the chatter of the day. You know, when you're working, there's always stress, and sometimes you get into more mind chatter, but I find this real effective for just releasing that chatter so that I'm just more present, fully present here.
Beautiful. Wow.
In the room. So that's what I experience.
Great. Thank you.
I'm very, very grateful for Master Marilyn leading this. And I'm also very, very grateful for, if it's okay to say, Wednesday, the soul, or whatever it was called, the
Tao, Introduction to Tao and Blessings.
Yeah, that was some of the things that were shared by Master Shunya and everything. And both of you, I'm just very, very grateful for what I was told. And so I thought, well, you know, this is 10 minutes, you know, nothing's... And of course, that's not what happened, because I am at the point of my healing where I'm ready to, you know, let certain things go, and it has to happen, and I realize today it has to happen in layers and stages, and I have a lot of people working on me to what I would call face the unfaceable, basically for me personally. I don't know. Other people might have unfaceable issues. I don't think they do. I think a lot of people do. And so it has to happen in layers with a lot of loving, caring, support, and safety so people can do these releases. So I realized today that it's layers of acceptance, and then as I can tolerate that, then there's more healing that happens. As I can tolerate facing the unfaceable, then I release more and more. And there are certain beliefs or thoughts around love that are causing blockages that are so massive, it's to be almost not even understood for me personally, my particular blockages. So during this very short session, one of the main things, main sentences that was told to me that it's been sticking in me, that came up.
Wow.
And so I'm trying to put this together to cause a release, because otherwise, I don't know, the results are really not good. So I'm really, 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 really wanting to experience the greatest love. And these blocks are so enormous. So I think we're on our way to, if we can find a real safe, supportive environment, to getting rid of these blocks. Because this is what I've wanted my whole life, is to experience the greatest love.
Beautiful. Thank you. That's great. And you know what, Sophia? I think a lot of people would also be able to say that last sentence. That what I really, really want, my heart's desire, and it's been my heart's desire, is to experience the greatest love.
That's probably true.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would. Yes?
Anyone else?
An incredible sense of peace, calmness, falling down. It's absolutely magic. It's absolutely magic. What happens in just a few minutes.
Beautiful.
Yes. I have no words, because the 12, the emotions are really active those days. And to be in just a few minutes able to form is really remarkable. Thank you.
Beautiful.
I didn't see anything, but just
The
that
experience.
the coating of love inside the message center. That's always how I see with the Da'ai blessing. The image is always implied that the light leaves behind it's like it's making the whole ceiling inside of our own message center covered with dust of gold every time. It's like dusts of gold that are sprayed inside of our message center every time we chant. It's amazing. It's really amazing.
Great. You could just put it, yeah, great. Do we have people sharing about the experience in the chat room or on Facebook? Okay.
And some people may be new to this teaching. When Paola used the word message center, you might know that as heart chakra. So she was talking about a gold layer right on her heart chakra.
Let's see. Carolyn Nash writes, "Good evening. With the chanting of Da'ai, I experienced a quiet, smooth calmness. Thank you." Let's see. Victoria Simone Swan says, I had left the computer for a while and came back at the end of the singing. It was so sweet to hear, and it made me smile, and was happy to be home with my soul family. Gloria Gomez writes, feeling happy after short practice. Good to be with our family. And for myself, I was just too busy back here with AB, so I didn't get a chance to focus on the chanting.
Could not connect. Okay, yeah. That's fair. So as we were singing, as we were chanting this, there were also many holy beings that came and became present in a very, very powerful way. It was very interesting because some of those holy beings we strongly, strongly identify with love. There are a lot of others that we don't know them by name. But there are some, like some of the ones that I was aware of, not so much because I saw them, but because I heard they were present, was Mother Mary, Kuan Yin, Ganesha. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Krishna, Jesus, Medicine Buddha. Yeah. And as I said, there were many others. There were like some Christian saints that I recognized that are not ones that are commonly well known, but absolutely represented love. And the joy that goes with that. Did you? What was your experience?
I was very focused on the chanting in the room. So let me... Things that I'm aware of that were happening out, well, on a different dimension of the room. As you mentioned, the saints that were here. There was a lot of joy among the saints who came. And, gosh, I'm not sure what the soul equivalent of this is, but they were like, whatever the soul equivalent is, they were tickling us, trying to get us to just open and, you know how you tickle someone just to get them laughing and, just start them laughing and get them in a giggly state of being? That's what they were doing to our souls. They were tickling our souls. That's probably the best way to say it. They were tickling our souls, and they're really saying we're really much too serious. Much, much too serious. So that's what I'm aware of.
Okay, great. Great.
We need this workshop.
Pardon me? Would you use the microphone?
I really needed to hear about tonight's workshop, because the joy in the heart is something that we don't always remember to entertain or to keep on a conscious level. We just realize one day that, oh my God, my joy, where's my joy today? But before that moment happens, maybe a few days, a few weeks have happened, and then you realize, oh my God, I don't have the sparkle in me. Where is the sparkle? So today was kind of what happened to me. I was missing the sparkle, and I was a little frustrated because I usually have it. So thank you very much. This is very helpful.
It's our pleasure. I'm going to put up a sentence that I've said it several times. It's from like a philosopher, writer, etc., from the 1800s. and his name is Leon Bloy. But the sentence is, somebody gave that to me on what in my tradition we call holy cards. They have, nice sayings on them. Pardon me? I can't say it. The sentence is, well, let me just finish. And it was years ago, absolutely years and years and years ago, when I was quite young and beginning teaching. And you're very serious when you begin teaching. You've got all these kids in front of you, 30 of them. And they can be very creative in the use of their time. And it may not have anything to do with what you want them to be doing. So, I was given this holy card. Joy is the most infallible sign of the presence of God. That to me is a marvelous, marvelous mantra. And sometimes we do lose contact with our connection with the divine, with the Tao, for a variety of reasons. And it's a good thing for us to keep this in mind. Master Sha would say this, but he says it in a very different way. Joy is the balanced emotion for the heart, for love. So to know if I have lost a connection to joy, that one of the things that it can indicate, and I'm not saying that this is 100% of total wisdom on joy and the presence of God, but it's a good indicator that if we've lost that spark of joy, if we're in a whole different type of response, emotional response, that can be a clue to us that we need to look at how strong at that moment our connection is with the divine. Not that we're going to be, saying, oh, I'm such an awful person, blah, blah, blah. That's not the point. But to go back and find out where is it that I sort of got distracted and put something else as more important. And when we can discover where we got distracted, then we can transform that distraction and have that connection once again.
Who said that?
Leon Bloy. Leon. Leon Bloy. Leon Bloy.
Bloy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know one sentence from lots of amazing people. All I can tell you is a little tiny bit about him, but that sentence, well, I told you, it was from when I was a young person, hadn't been teaching for too terribly long, and it made such an impact on me that it's just stayed with me over the years. Yeah, I found it, yeah.
Yeah, and what comes to mind is children playing. When I heard that statement, immediately I think of children, small children playing joyfully, being just filled with excitement and joy and laughing and having so much fun together. on their own and creating games and fun things to do. That's what I think of, the joy of children playing and laughing.
And that's what's possible for all of us. And it sort of makes me think of what Master Shinya said, that we can become so serious that that part of it is not released as readily. So the weekend is on the secret of a joyful heart. I want to make sure I get all of these words. 2 prepositions are important. The secret to a joyful heart. So, in receiving the wisdom from heaven about this, it was kind of a surprise. And what we're going to do tonight is we're going to tell you the secret. And tomorrow, we're going to tell you how you can accomplish it. Okay? So you're going to get, not the whole workshop, you're just going to find out what the secret is. So what we received was the secret to a joyful heart is to be unconditional. Now tomorrow we're going to explore what does this mean and how do you do it. So if you want to know how to do this, you'll need to register for the workshop. Because we cannot do all of this in one night. It just can't be done. In fact, we can't do it all in one day either, but we can do more. So unconditional. What does unconditional mean? It's a term we use a lot. Part of what being unconditional means is that there are no limits. No limits. So everybody in the room and on the webcast and on Facebook, on the teleconference, just stop for a minute and reflect on something in your life. You don't have to say, I'm not going to ask you to say it out loud, but something in your life where you think either I can't do blah, 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 or I must have. I really need blah, blah, blah. There's some things we do need. We need to sleep. We need to eat. You know, I'm not talking about things like that. I'm talking about the ones that are a little bit too, you know, more emphasis than that. Okay? Does everybody have something? Yeah, okay. So those are limits. Those are limits. As I said, I'm not talking about the ones that are valid. I'm talking about the ones where there is a definite emphasis and some feeling attached to it. To be unconditional means that we release those. We are free of those. The part that's so lovely about this is that the more we do that type of thing, the more we connect with the divine within. Because the divine does not have limits. It's like the sun. The sun shines down on everything in its path. The sun does not say, oh, I really like, oh, that's a really great group. I'll shine over there. Oh, yuck, forget that. I'm not shining over there. They'll get a little bit. This does not happen. There are no limits. So when we experience life that way, what we are experiencing is that deep, deep connection to the divine, to Tao. Because Tao does not have limits. When we are experiencing life this way, we are also free of judgment. We are not getting offended by this, that, or the other thing. Because just think about the times, all of us have had this experience, just think about the times when you have been offended. Do you feel joyful at the same time? No, they don't go together. So that is also an aspect of this. That being unconditional means that there are no limits, there are no boundaries. And again, I'm not talking about, everything is just totally open. It means there's a balance here. There are some things, some places in life we have to have boundaries or we can't function, But this is having a strong, strong response to where my boundaries are. But as I said, we need to have some, otherwise life doesn't work. And with everything, it's the intensity of the response that we have that lets us know that we're moving a little bit away from the light, that we're moving away from being unconditional. Do you have a question?
No. I'm actually sucking it all in. I'm just sucking it all in because unconditional was not exactly the first word that would have come to mind when it comes to joy. Avery was not the first natural. My head would not have gone to that word first. No way. Mm-hmm. And then no limits, no boundaries. Yes, for some reason, no. I was definitely not looking at joy in that direction at all. So for me, it's I'm learning something completely brand new, and it does make a lot of sense. I mean, I just had never considered it that way at all. And yeah, so I'm just listening, waiting for the next
Well, you know what? I hadn't either, but that's what Heaven told me.
Okay. No, thank you.
And it's so interesting when we approach things by listening to what Heaven says. It's very different than what we listen to what logic tells us. Or what we've learned in all the books that we've read or lectures that we've gone to over the years, And I'm not saying those things are not valid. They're all helpful and important. But this is what I received. And Master Sheen and I also talked about this, that when we are unconditional, we have the secret to joy. Part of it is we will also, the focus is not going to be totally on ourselves. When the focus is totally on myself, I can't see too far in front of me. And I have really lost my connection with the divine, with the Tao. I haven't lost it completely, but I've definitely put a limitations there. If I am totally focused on myself, it's going to be very hard for me to notice all the amazing things that are going on around me. It will make it difficult for me to appreciate the people around me. And one of the things that I do every day is there are a couple of comic strips that I read. Well, I don't read them every day, but often. One of them today is for better or for worse. Some of you may read it. The woman is driving. Ellie is driving. She's in traffic. We've all had that experience probably. And she's saying to all the drivers around her, hurry up. I only have 11 minutes to get to my meeting. And then the next frame is hurry up. And the next frame is, what are you doing? Just sitting there looking at the sunset? And the last frame shows this spectacular sunset. And she's saying, maybe I need to look at the sunset more. But that is an aspect of being unconditional. Because when she was totally focused on herself, she had to get to the meeting, get to the meeting, get to the meeting. She didn't even see the sunset. And that happens to us also. There's actually a lot of beauty around us when we notice it. And some things are easy to recognize as beautiful. Some things we have to be paying attention, or we'll miss them. We have to have our focus someplace else. We have to have our focus on well, I keep going back to it, on being unconditional, to receive what is around us. To receive it as a gift, because that's really what it is. Yes.
Yes, I relate this to an experience I've had off and on last 40 years or more. I tend to have mind chatter, but not so much anymore, but, for decades, a lot of mind chatter. And I've had this experience many times that I'm walking along in my thought, chattering away, and then suddenly I come to this beautiful garden, and there's these beautiful roses, daffodils, whatever, beautiful flowers, and it catches my attention and knocks me out of that mind chatter. Mm-hmm. And I'm, what beautiful roses, what a beautiful garden. This family has put a lot of beautiful care and attention into their garden and nurtured it. What beautiful roses. And then at that moment, my awareness comes where, I've been lost in my thoughts, this chatter, the loops in the mind. You're going around in circles and loops, and you're not present. And then the beautiful flower just suddenly brings me out of that. And I started to perceive that as maybe a message from the divine, a connection with the divine, the beautiful flower or the beautiful bird. Like once an experience, I'm walking along in my thoughts, and then I hear this voice saying, hello, how are you? How are you today? And I'm looking around, there's nobody around. Looking, then I see this huge bird, a cockatoo, and he's talking to me. And he's sitting on this fence talking to me and looking at me. And so I walked into the garden and started talking to the bird, and he's answering me. Just really friendly bird, but he sounded like a human. And it felt like he was deliberately trying to get my attention, and he wanted some attention. You know, he's a little bored. He wanted to interact with the human. And he had a number of different phrases, but it just felt like he was talking to me and wanting to have a conversation. And then he did these flips around, you know, he's trying to show off. So he's doing these flips around, you know, like a gymnast or around this iron fence. I mean, this is amazing. So, yeah. So that was a similar kind of experience, the bird. Yeah, it was somebody's pet.
Oh, okay.
It was in their yard, and I kind of walked into the garden. And, you know, I'm talking to this bird, and he's doing flips around and dancing. I mean, amazing encounter with this big cockatoo. And then he had this white feathers where he would open them up, and he's, you know, doing things with his feathers to get my attention too. So
that's a great story, Nita. I love it. And also the phrase that caught me, being present.
Yes.
When we are unconditional, we are present. Yeah, because we don't have all these boundaries that we have to be protecting. We can be there, and we can receive what is present. Yeah. So, some of the holy beings that came that we were aware of are very good examples of this. And as I said, there are many other holy beings that, you know, we don't all know them by name, but the ones that I identified and shared are ones that many people are aware of. But they are very good examples. Because I grew up in, you know, a Catholic tradition, those are the holy beings that I'm familiar with. I know Ganesh, I know Krishna, I know who they are, and I know them, but I didn't grow up with them, so it's not quite the same connection. But what they have, and to make present to us and to help us to live, each one has like a different aspect, a different way of helping us to appreciate what it means to be unconditional. And when we can connect with several of them, then we have a more complete understanding, a more complete experience, so that we would be able to apply that. Yeah. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to connect. Well, let me just check. Are there any comments besides, thank you? Are there questions? Let me put it that way. Are there any questions or experiences that people have shared in the chat box?
I will have to read them. Let's see. Some of them are echoes of your teaching. I haven't been reading them, so it would take me a while to read them.
Oh, okay.
Let's see.
Usually you can tell by how long they are. If they're long, it's usually somebody has shared something or has a question.
I guess the question was the author of the quote, and that was Leon Eloy?
Bloy.
Bloy?
B-L-O-Y.
B-L-O-Y, okay. Thank you for that clarification. There was some mix-up with the phone number. It changed somewhere along the line in the last day or two. So I had entered the old phone number, and that's why there wasn't anybody on the phone line before.
Oh.
So now the phone line is working, and if you need to dial in on the phone line, it's 712-432-2839, the same number as usual, but the listener code is 21537#. That's 21537#.
Okay. So should we check the teleconference line?
Well, we can do that. There's no other real... Victoria writes in, joy is the most infallible sign of the presence of God. And April writes in, this is an epiphany, quote unquote. Where did I get distracted? And April also writes, nature brings me back too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me open the phone.
This conference is unmuted. Callers may mute themselves by pressing *1.
So the teleconference is now unmuted. If you would like to share an experience, you can just begin talking.
I just tuned in because it seems like you were having trouble with your system.
And
So I really haven't heard you that much.
okay, so did you catch what? Anna, would you say it again, please? Because I heard you, but I wasn't able to understand clearly what you were saying.
Seems like you were having trouble with the system. So I started hearing you just a few minutes ago. It's like the line gets open a few minutes ago.
Oh, okay, so you just got on. Okay.
Yes. Sorry.
Sorry that happened to you,
fine.
Anna.
Thank you, Master.
You're welcome.
Glad to hear you.
Thank you. We're happy that you're on the line now.
Thank you.
That's good. Okay.
There are currently 2 other participants in the conference.
Okay. So I think that takes care of the sharing there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to connect with Mother Mary and ask if she would give us some wisdom about the meaning or the connection between being unconditional and joy. Okay? So just sit straight. I am very grateful to be invited to share this wisdom with you. This wisdom is very important, and as you have experienced, it is not the first thing that comes to your thinking. To have a more complete understanding of being unconditional will make a great difference in every aspect of your life. When you live this way, you will observe that there are very few people that you will think about as them. You will begin to experience the oneness of humanity. You will begin to experience that there is the spark of the divine within every person and every situation. For some, that spark may need a lot of nourishing, and it may need great healing and love. For others, their life journey has made it possible for that spark to grow strong and to be present always. Being unconditional will allow you to connect with perhaps one of the key qualities of the divine, the Tao, the Source. Developing this quality within yourself will give you the possibility of growing in your connection with the divine, the Tao, the Source. As you grow in this connection, you will also be able to have balance in your life. You will first of all be unconditional with yourself. This is the place to begin. To be unconditional with yourself. To offer yourself greatest love, greatest forgiveness, greatest compassion, greatest light, greatest humility, greatest harmony, greatest flourishing, greatest gratitude, greatest service, and greatest enlightenment. When you offer these to yourself, you will be living the experience that you are the presence of the divine. You are the presence of Tao. And you will maintain a most beautiful and exquisite balance in each aspect of your life. You will experience the deepest, deepest joy. Because as you heard, joy is the most infallible sign of the presence of God. I am very grateful to have had the opportunity to share just a little wisdom with you. I am very grateful you are participating in this workshop. This could, in fact, be a turning point for many of you. It will definitely be significant for all of you. You are loved and you are blessed. How? Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, well, if you have a response, if we'll give you an opportunity to respond.
Thank you very much.
I think it's okay, Sophia.
I appreciate the flow, and I'm very, very grateful. Very grateful. I can't thank you enough. Really, that would be the right expression. I can't thank you enough, both Master Shinya and Master Marilyn, and also appreciate everybody's presence here in the room and the temple, and for trying to reconnect me with the divine. It's been a lifelong journey. Actually, I'm not, from what I've learned, what I've been learning about my particular journey, I don't know if there was ever a connection. And so that's what's creating a lot of problems, which is, of course, a profound understatement, but so I'm very puzzled about that, because I know, I think that it's supposed to be present within the body, but I haven't been able to, connect with it, connect with the divine with other people. But I think, it has to happen, like you said, it's an internal issue. And so if there's a disconnection inside, then there's a disconnection outside.
Exactly.
And so that's been my lifelong struggle, is trying to do that. And I've had a lot of practices, a lot of spiritual practices where I have experienced things. But unfortunately, it was still on top of massive blockages, to make a 10-year story a few seconds. So because of all the work that I've been doing over the past 30 years, have been on top of incomprehensible blockages, that would be a way to make a 10-year story, very few seconds, that it hasn't, it's just been layer by, haven't been able to experience it. But through some extraordinary healers, and you could call it divine intervention, present in Master Shah's and his compassion, which is really beyond understanding, that he's, given certain extraordinary appointments, as you call them, and abilities to people that are willing to serve and to put this into practice, I'm a lot closer, and I'm still alive to maybe, I would like to experience direct, honest, authentic connection before I die. I really would.
Okay, Sophia, that's great. It sounds beautiful to me. That desire itself is actually a connection.
I'm asking for help.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I've been asking for quite a while, but
The thing,
I'm getting closer.
and all of those 30 years were readiness.
Yeah, that's what I've been told. And I actually heard a minister say, never curse the path that leads to a higher place.
Exactly. Or be sorry about it, or whatever. The thing that you said that I realized is important to share is that sometimes we sometimes confuse being joyful with being effervescent, bubbly, and those are not synonyms. We can be very joyful and very quiet and calm also. The joy can be a very peaceful presence. So what's important for us to realize is that the experience of joy sometimes gets confused with an emotional reaction. And that is not necessarily true. Sometimes it will be. Sometimes we do have a profound emotional response. But it's not a synonym. What Leon Bloy gave us is, I think, is a good way to, at least it served me very well, to know that joy is the presence of the divine, and the divine manifests in my life different ways at different times. If it's truly divine, though, it's always going to be peaceful. It's going to be connected to one or another of the 10 das. If I'm in turmoil and all the rest, it means I've sort of strayed from the past. I need to, it's like the GPS. Redirect, redirect, redirect. You know? So, thank you. That would be an important thing to keep in the back of our awareness. And that's especially true for those who are introverts, according to the way that Carl Jung describes it. What? People who are introverts, the way that Carl Jung, the psychologist from the 1900s, described that. Everything gets processed inside, and you don't hear it, you don't see it in the same way as people who process everything out loud. You hear it, you see it much more easily. Yeah. And none of us are either or. We're a blend of both. So Master Shuni is also going to share what he has received related to being unconditional. So you get another perspective, absolutely, because we both have very different soul journeys. Each one of us has a different soul journey, so what heaven tells each one of us will be a little bit different.
Thank you, Master Marilyn.
Thank you.
And as you were sharing, Sophia, I thought everyone should read Master David's book. Master David wrote a book, How I Healed Myself of OCD. There's always hope. When Master David met Master Sha, when he was a teenager, long before he met Master Sha, there was a story in the news of a girl who was kidnapped. And it triggered something in him. And we would say his karma activated. a psychiatrist would say he had a psychological break. And what happened was he went into an obsessive compulsive state where he felt inside that if he didn't count everything in fours, that either he would be hurt or his family would be hurt. Something horrible, terrible, awful would happen. And he spent his whole teen years just counting. And he knew it was crazy. You know, he was like, I know, you know, he could tell you, I know this it doesn't make any sense. But it's the only thing that alleviates the pain and the fear. So he kept doing it, even though he knew that it didn't make any sense. And so he went to see a psychiatrist. He was put on psychiatric medications. Those caused problems with his thyroid. He went through, you know, a very difficult time. And when he met Master Sha, he was just desperate to stop feeling that way. And he started doing what Master Sha suggested. And, you know, everything has yin and yang. Everything has good and bad. The good side of being obsessive compulsive, if somebody tells you what to do, you will do it diligently every moment of every day. You will never miss your homework. And so unlike most of us, he did the practices very diligently all the time, continuously. And he healed himself of obsessive compulsive disorder. He was actually, and became one of Master Sha's top teachers around the world. And he came here, he's from California, and he teaches in Europe now. And he came here to do a workshop. And at the introduction workshop, his mother was here, his father was here, and his doctor that treated him all those years ago was here. And his doctor said, "This is unheard of in my practice. The prognosis for him would be that there would never be a change of this condition. He would never be able to go off medication, and things probably wouldn't get much better." So, well, and, you know, Sophia was saying they love to say that. He's saying that based on thousands and thousands and thousands of people who didn't get better. What happened for Master David was very unusual. And so, and it's a testament to the power of the work that Master Sha does. Master Sha has taken from spiritual traditions of Buddhist and Taoist. He's taken from Western medicine. He's taken from Chinese medicine. And he's taken the best of everything and his own connection with the divine, the Tao, the source, and created an approach to life that offers huge possibility. And so as you were sharing, the thought I kept thinking was, there's always hope. There's always hope. And I think Master David's story is just the best example of there's always hope. So if you have a chance to read his book, please do. We can all learn from what he went through. So, it's the other thing I was thinking when Master Marilyn was talking about, you know, how joy shows up for us, because in many ways I'm classically extroverted. Joy almost always shows up for me as very bubbly, very, very has very high energy, very, very but you know, I was thinking about a time when I was really joyful. I love Disneyland. I grew up about 20 minutes from Disneyland. We could see the fireworks at night in the summer. And, and Disneyland is called the happiest place on earth. For me as a kid, no question. So, as an adult, our Master Sharon is one of our teachers who used to be here in California. Now she's in Oregon. And her daughter, Lillian, is a very special young lady. And when she was 7, we had a workshop in Los Angeles, and her parents brought her with, and they took her for 2 days at Disneyland. And I was like, I want to go with you. I want to go with you. And I said, and she said, okay, yeah, you can, and I was saying, and she kept asking me, are you coming? Are you coming? And I said, well, I don't know. I don't know if I can get away from the work that I need to do, because there's a lot of work to be done. And she said, well, who says you can come? I said, well, Master Shaw would, because that's when I was the event manager for Master Shaw. So I said, well, Master Shaw would have to tell me that it's okay. And I didn't realize that we were at a dinner. There was about 20 people after a talk that we did at a restaurant. Next thing I knew, she was over at the table with Master Shaw going, Master Shaw, can Master Shunyu go to Disneyland with me tomorrow? And of course, Master Shaw said, yes, I think Master Shunyu can go to Disneyland with you tomorrow. So the 4 of us went to Disneyland, and throughout the afternoon, there were things that Lillian just wanted to see the princesses, the latest Disney princesses. I think it's from the movie Frozen. There's 2 princesses. I don't know their name, but she was just, intently set on finding the princesses from Frozen. And, and there were some rides that Michael wanted to go on, and some things that Sharon wanted to go on. It's a small world. And they kept asking me, they're like, well, we have these things. What do you want to do? I was like, I'm just happy. I'm at Disneyland. I don't care if we go to a show. I don't care if we go on a ride. I don't care if we just stand here. I'm just happy. I'm happy to be at Disneyland. And for me, it's joyful. It's all my memories with it are associated with joy. It's just a joyful thing for me, just to be at Disneyland. And so there's, I can look at that, I can stop and go, oh, well, is that logical and rational, and does that fit? Who cares? Who cares? I'm standing there looking at Tom Sawyer's Island going, wow, I'm just happy. I'm just in a state of joy. So what we're going to do is we're going to close our eyes, and we're going to bring up a time when you've experienced joy. And I want you to just allow something to come up. And, the other thing I was thinking, Sophie Ann, when you were saying, I don't know if I've experienced joy, the message that I was getting from heaven was, at least in this lifetime. In other lifetimes, you have definitely experienced joy. I'm not sure about this lifetime, but they're telling me for sure in other lifetimes you've experienced joy. Okay, so everybody please, we're going to use the 4 powers. So please sit up straight in your chair as you're able, with your back away from the chair, feet flat on the floor. If you can touch your heels together, that's great. If you need the support of the back of the chair, please use it. But if you're able to let the energy flow behind you, that's great. And if you can't sit down, you can do this standing with your feet about shoulder width apart. Or if you need to be lying down, you can do this lying down. But if we start chanting, only chant silently. Now place both hands on your lower abdomen just below your belly button. And then focus, close your eyes, touch the tip of the tongue to the roof of the mouth. And then focus your mind on your lower abdomen. And imagine golden light in your lower abdomen. And then take a deep breath all the way down into your lower abdomen, right down to the tip of your tailbone. And let it go slowly. Take another deep breath all the way down to the tip of your tailbone and let it go slowly. One more time, all the way down. And then just let your breath fall into a gentle, easy pattern, gently falling in and gently falling out. And with each breath in, breathe in golden light. And it goes all the way down to your lower abdomen. With each breath out, release any tension or stress. Breath gently falling in. Golden light going down. Breath gently falling out. Tension releasing. The breath gently falls in, gently falls out. Light flows in, stress flows out. Relaxing more and more. Letting everything go. Gently breathing in, gently breathing out. And allow a time to come into your awareness where you have experienced joy. Become aware of what was happening at that time. Notice where you were. Were you alone or were there other people around you? Was there a particular place that you were at that brought you joy? Or a particular event that was happening? An experience? See the event as though it was happening all over again. See the colors, the people, places, and things. You might even smell certain smells or hear different things. You might feel the sunshine or the breeze, or maybe the soft rain. Or maybe it was clear that day. Was it cold? Was it warm? Remember the time that you felt joy, as though it was happening right now. And notice how your heart feels. Is it more open, more expansive, lighter? And just take a moment and give gratitude for that experience. If there were others who made it possible for you, give gratitude to their souls. We can always give gratitude to the divine, the Tao, the source, for bringing us such a lovely experience. We can give gratitude for the things, people, places, things that we've received. Just allow your heart to feel grateful. Now take another deep breath all the way down to your tailbone and let it out slowly. Take another deep breath and let it out slowly. One more time, and this time as you breathe out, allow your eyes to gently come open. Letting your eyes come open and being back present in your physical body. So how many were able to go to a place, a memory, an experience of joy? Okay. And what was it like there? Tell me about it. Can you say a little bit about what you felt? And if you can use the microphone, then the people on the webcast can hear you, just so they can hear. Thank you.
And when the choice joined death,
Yeah.
it's a brand new big love.
Yeah.
But it's a, we have to change the opposite.
Thank you. Thank you. Who else can say a little bit about what they experienced? Oops. And please, on the chat room, on the webcast, please share. What did you experience? We all like hearing about joyful stuff. We spend a lot of time around here actually talking about really tough stuff. This is the chance we actually can talk about some joyful stuff. Please, Anita.
So a period in my life that really stands out as being very exciting and joyful for me. I was 13 years old and in 8th grade, and I had a music teacher who was very inspiring, she had great ambitions. She organized, like in the fall, she organized singing evenings at her house, so students would come and sing, and she was great at arranging music and harmonizing a choir, and she served great refreshments. But it was just very exciting for me to go a few nights a week to sing and be part of this choir and then perform. But then she decided to get really ambitious and do a play. So she had the junior high school put on Little Abner. Oh. And the administrators didn't quite realize what they were getting into. Normally in a junior high school, you're not putting on a major production of a play. So this was really ambitious for the time. This is 1964. So we did Little Abner, and I was one of the stars. I played Mammy Yoakum, Little Abner's mother. I loved it. It was a musical, and so I got to sing. And that time, I've always been able to project my voice, and of a loud voice, but I can really project at a distance. So, and with plays, as 12, 13, 14, I could really project my voice loud enough, and sometimes people would say, you were the only person I could hear in the play. So, you know, in drama class and school plays, I could really be heard. So anyway, it was very exciting. Like a few nights a week, we were at the school rehearsing till 10 o'clock. And that was so much fun for me. And I made some good friends and, you know, lifelong friends. But the young man who played Lil Abner, he passed away from cancer at 37. I see him regularly in my dreams. I feel that we're connected spiritually. Yeah. So he's with me. And this very, very loving presence. So he's like a spirit guide for me. Nice. And I've been really connected to him the last 30 years since he passed away from cancer. Yeah. He was a medical doctor, an orthopedic doctor. Anyway, but he played Little Abner, and we got to be good friends then for years. So that's one aspect of it, this strong connection I still have with this young man, this friend from my childhood. But it was just so much fun and so exciting, and it added a lot to my social life to go out and be with the kids for hours, a few days a week. My parents were really proud, and so it was my claim to fame because I did a great performance. And so I'm from a little town in New Jersey. My parents were, you know, involved in local politics, so I got kind of a little famous there for a while, and with that role, and people remembered it for years and talked about it for years, you know. So you know, my brief moment of fame, let's say. But just the whole experience was just very joyful and exciting for me and added so much to my life. Unfortunately, the school fired the teacher. I mean, this was too much for them. You know, it was just too much, so they fired her. And, you know, I think that was a shame because she was a very, very dedicated teacher. And the school found it was just too much, overly ambitious. But she got the kids to act and to sing and perform. And she really inspired us And she just loved us. You could just feel the love she had for her students and the dedication she had, and opening up her house many evenings a week to the students. And I mean, she went all out, and she just will really stand out in my mind as, you know, an ideal teacher, someone who's really dedicated their life to teaching and being there for the students and inspiring them and you know, making their life more fun, more joyful, helping them to be joyful, but to bring out the talent in them, the singing and the dancing and the talent. She was just marvelous at that, bringing out our talent.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Do we have folks in the chat room who've also shared their experience?
Gloria Gomez writes, thank you, Master Shunya. So many lifetime memories from childhood through now came flooding to mind, especially the time with Master Sha when he wrote the Da Jufu sacred calligraphy for me to serve. Let's see. I think that's the only one for this exercise. Let me check Facebook.
Okay.
No, not for this one. For me, it was interesting. I had flashbacks to episodes from childhood, like age 5 and earlier. Life is so much simpler back then. And not only simpler, but, well, a lot less cares, if you know what I mean. The cares of the world haven't descended upon you yet. And so those were probably the most joyful period of my life in the traditional sense of the word. About 25 years ago or so, I began seriously in a spiritual journey, 30 to 25 years ago. And after a whole lot of experiences, I realized that you can actually live your life from a state of joy. That joy can be an underlying sort of a current that flows below, you know, those still waters that flow below everything that's going on around you. And to me, that was quite a revelation, because to me, happiness is like an emotion. It comes and goes. Same way with sadness, all the other emotions. But joy can be a underlying theme, underlying experience of life. And I need to get back to more of that, actually. I've been distracted, it seems, in the last couple of years. So thank you for the reminder of that.
Sure. So, and that leads me into my next question. So, what is keeping us from feeling that way all the time? So we had that, we thought about this experience we had and how we're all feeling joyful. What's keeping us from feeling that way all the time? And you mentioned a few things. You said, back then when I was, before 5 years old, I didn't have so many cares and responsibilities. Yeah?
If I may, in my case, about joy, I've lived in depression, deep depression, for 33 years of my life. And deep depression is not a very nice space, but we do still experience moments of joy. Yeah. And so I had a little brush with coming to San Francisco at the age of 22 and falling into basically a miraculous set of synchronicities, as we want to call them. But I arrived in San Francisco, and for me, the magic started. Everything was magic. The people who I was meeting, the subject they were bringing, the connection they had, the interest they were sharing, the willingness to bring you along. It was absolutely extraordinary. And the joy, much joy. much joy during that time, but also because most people that I met were all coming from around the world. And in San Francisco, we all were orphans of existing families, some of us, but we were orphans. Still, in the moment of extraordinary openness and joy and fun and incredibly, the coincidences just never stopped. It was just flowing absolutely from one miracle to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. I mean, how do you spend your days where it's going like this, like this, like this? It lasted for me for about a year and 7 months, and then the trend went down. Fast forward until I'm 37, and that's when I meet Master Sha. No, actually, sorry, what am I saying? 33. 33, yes. Because on the very day in which the Soul Light era was starting, I was at the beach. And on that day, something magic happened to me, because on that day I felt that I would be healed from depression for the rest of my life. Like this was it. I would never feel depressed ever again. Not to that depth. Yeah? Still, knowing that I had overcome depression, I felt it deeply, deeply, deeply. You know, it was true. I was not going to be depressed ever again. I had tapped into the source of love. Source of love is you just open your heart and you love. It's that simple, pretty much. But finally, it had synced in, and it was cool. But 37, when I had to wait until I met Master Sha to experience truly the depth of what getting rid of all those blockages that were truly, I mean, for how many beautiful experiences I've had in my life, and yes, I've had a number. I was blessed. It was meeting Master Sha that brought the true in the true sense of deep, deep, deep joy. Because with that man came the certainty of who we were, the clarity of who we were in a way that I had never. I had an idea, you know, we believe we know, but not the way that he was able to present it and make it available for everyone. So quickly, so fast. That moment was for me the moment in which a deeper path of joy started, and has done nothing but grow.
Good.
Yes, it's beautiful. So thank you. Thank you very much.
So just tell me, maybe just one word, a couple words. What are the things then that are blocking the joy? Why aren't we like that all the time? So in your life, what are the things that block the joy? Stress. Anxiety. We heard depression. We heard responsibilities. Beliefs. Attitudes. Mindsets. Mother Earth transition. Sure.
And an inappropriate diet.
A bad diet, inappropriate diet. So those are all the conditions. When we say, what is the secret to having a joyful heart? It's being unconditional. So the conditions are, if I have a good diet, then I'll be joyful. If I don't have anxiety, then I'll be joyful. If there's no earthquakes, no floods, no fires, no Mother Earth transition, then I'll be joyful. If I don't have any responsibilities, then I'll be joyful. The secret to having a joyful heart is to be joyful regardless of the conditions. That's what it means to be unconditional.
But to get
So,
you have to get rid of those things.
no. So what Sophia just said is, to get that, you have to get rid of those things. No, the secret is you be joyful even when those things are happening. We'll tell you tomorrow. And the question was, how does that happen? We'll tell you tomorrow. But what I know is that it can be done. And I know it from my own experience, and I know it from everything that Evan tells me, and everything that Master Sha and every other spiritual teacher I've studied with has taught. So we will teach more of that tomorrow.
Great.
So Would you like to add anything before we wrap up?
Sounds very complete.
Okay. So
everything will be added tomorrow.
there we go. So it has been our joy to be with you here tonight. Master Marilyn in her quiet, introverted way, me in my more effusive, extroverted way. And we give great thanks to Master Shah for providing the forum, the whole space of what we do, to all the divine, the Tao, the source, who create all joy that exists in all universes, to all the saints and holy beings that were here, including Mother Mary, Baba Ganesh, Jesus, I think you mentioned, Yao Zhufo, the medicine Buddha, and I know Maitreya Buddha was here as well. All the Buddhas, all the Bodhisattvas, all the Tao saints, Christian saints, all the holy beings that have been here, all the prophets that were here tonight, because they were all just dropping little joy bombs. Just like, that's been going on all night. I know most of you weren't aware of that, but we've received many, many joy blessings tonight from heaven. So we'll join together again tomorrow to further this exploration. We'll be doing practices. We'll give you some wisdom and also blessings for increasing your capacity. There you go, good word. Capacity for experiencing joy unconditionally. So we close by saying love you 3 times, thank you 3 times, and gong song 3 times. Love you, love you, love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Gong song, gong song, gong song. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.